Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of the brand new Stihl HLA 66 long reach hedge cutter and give you a walkthrough of the changes that they've made from the 65 to this, the brand new 66. Now, those of you who have followed the channel before will know that I had the previous model, the 65. Sadly, that is no longer with us. We managed to bust the gearbox. When Stihl announced that they were releasing an updated version, we decided not to replace it with a 65, but hold on and get the 66. So I only picked this up about 3 weeks ago. I have given it a little bit of use so far, and of course I will do a full review of this later on in the year once I've used it that little bit more, so stick around for that. So if you were familiar or used the 65, this machine is going to be very similar to you. In fact, it's pretty much identical. The only changes really have come at the trigger and the battery slot end of the tool. So at this end, you've got the same blade unit, you've got the same gearbox, you've got the same motor, so you've still got the 3,000 cuts per minute, you've still got the 50 centimeter bar, 26 mil tooth spacing, all exactly the same. You've got your 115 mil of adjustment head angle on there as well. It's all exactly the same. The changes start at the handle here. They've just added a couple of little buffers here just to give you a little bit more grip in the wet. And in general use. So far I've used them quite a lot actually. It'll be interesting to see over a bit more use whether I decide to take them off or not. As I mentioned, the big changes have come at the back end of the machine. So we've got a brand new trigger system on here. It's one of Stihl's safety triggers, which I'm never really that keen on. So far I've actually been quite impressed by this one. Previous safety triggers from Stihl, like on the KM130R, are just hopeless. So far this one has been a lot better. It seems to be much better designed so it doesn't catch on you or the hedge, and of course being a single speed it can't actually change speed, so I've been quite impressed by that. As I say, I'm not really that keen on them, but this one's as good as one I've used so far. The actual trigger itself feels that little bit sturdier. You've got a nicer rubber grip on there. It's a bit chunkier and it just feels that little bit more robust. The previous one was a bit cheap and nasty at that end really. So it's an improvement. The battery slot area at the back of the machine has also been completely redesigned, and this was a big problem with the previous model. The battery slot used to sit below the shaft, and because the tool's quite a deep tool with the motor here and the battery slot, it caused a lot of lateral twist in the tool, and that caused a lot of fatigue in your wrists and your hands when using the tool, and it was always just felt really unbalanced and quite horrible in the hands. You felt like you were fighting the tool. So what they've done is they've brought the battery slot and the battery in line with the shaft, which has made a massive difference to the feel of the tool. It's got rid of a lot of that lateral force, and the overall balance of the machine feels a lot nicer. So that's a big improvement. It's only a sort of relatively simple change, but it's made a big difference to the feel of the tool. And the battery slot itself as well, the clips feel a lot sturdier. One of the problems with the previous model was the batteries often came firing out when you were using them. Not great when the batteries can cost as much as the tool itself. So they feel a lot sturdier, and they've also extended the battery slot so that rather than on the previous model where if you had the tool standing up it was literally resting on the battery, which was not a good idea at all. On this particular model they've just extended that battery slot just to provide that little bit of protection for the battery. So again, just a simple change, but it was a needed change. The changes have added a little bit of extra weight, so it's 200 grams more than the previous model at 3.8 kilos. Just tool weight. To be honest, you don't notice the extra weight, partly because I've gone for a AP200 battery, which is the recommended battery for the tool, but that just brings down that weight down a little bit more. I previously used AP300s, AP300Ss, which were obviously a little bit heavier. I have used them on this tool and it still felt fine, but the AP200 is the recommended, and it keeps that weight down for you nicely, and you've still got the same runtime and performance from those batteries. So first impressions are positive. The relatively small changes that they've made have made a big difference. It feels a lot more balanced. Whatever battery you have, there's a lot less of the lateral forces, and it just feels a lot nicer tool to use hedge cutting. It was always a good tool. You know, the blades out of the box were really nice and sharp. It cuts really nice and cleanly, relatively low vibrations. It was a great tool, but as I say, the updates that they've made to it have made it infinitely better. It's only a shame that it's taken them 9 years to make what is relatively simple and small changes, but yeah, who cares? They've done it now, and so far I've been really impressed by it, and I'm really looking forward to using it a bit more over this hedge cutting season and getting a full review out for you. So I hope you found the video useful. Don't forget to hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing for more videos like this, and the full review of this coming up later on in the year. If you've got any comments about the hedge cutter, don't forget to drop them in the comment section and I'll get back to you. And that just leaves me to say thanks again for watching. Bye for now.